Welcome to the Mind Our Business podcast, where we dive into life's challenges and triumphs while exploring the world of entrepreneurship. Here, you'll get honest conversation, practical insights, and inspirational stories that will empower you in business and in life. We're all about real talk, real life, and real business. Our topic today is brainstorming and business planning, turning your ideas into reality. Before we get into our topic, let's introduce ourselves so people can know who's behind the mic.
I'm Simona, a fashion stylist and a personal shopper, curating looks with you in mind.
And I'm your girl, Tamika, your favorite certified recreation therapist, focusing on inclusion and adaptive recreation, always advocating for those with disabilities as well as our elder population.
Hey everybody, I'm Gigi, director and owner of Moves Dance Studios and Vibe Together.
And I'm Carla Shahid, the realtor and certified real estate planner, where I help people build, protect, and transfer wealth. Okay, before we get into it, there's a quote from Kathy Hughes. So what Kathy says is, don't let anyone convince you that your dream, your vision to be an entrepreneur is something that you shouldn't do. What often happens is that people who are well-meaning, who really care for us, they're afraid for us and talk us out of it.
Oh, now I get it. Yeah,
Wow.
that's so true.
Yeah.
For me, it was my parents. So they were good with me having a side hustle. So they were all for having a second stream of income, but they didn't want me to go full-fledged into entrepreneurship because of their fear.
Correct.
They wanted to make sure that I didn't struggle. It was their fear. It was the point that old school, you got to have a good job, you got to have a good retirement. That's security to them. But hey, you got to be your own person.
You do. You do. Yeah. I had some similar, kind of experiences with that where, I won't call anyone out, but they said, you start something, but you don't finish it. And I thought, what? Is that really me? But I'm glad that I just took a leap and I did it, but that is something. There are people who they love us and they mean well. And that's the thing. We can't just follow what our parents say or what other people say. We have to follow what we truly believe.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to you, Tamika, because it was my closest family that said that dance, you can't make no money dancing. That's a hobby. That ain't no job, because I grew up under a Filipino mother. So my mother was all about education, go to college, become a nurse, become a doctor, like those were the dreams of our Filipino parents who were especially coming out here from the Philippines. And when me growing up here in California, I mean, it was about go to college and stuff. And I did that, but then I was like, something in me was like cringing hard, like tearing me up. And I just said, I can't do this no more. I didn't enjoy going to school. I didn't do it. Packed up my bags, went to LA, and rest is history. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you do have to kind of like take that leap, like you said, Carla, because if you don't, you'll never know what's on the other side of success.
Right.
Absolutely. I do believe God does give you a vision, give you a vision for a reason, and you do have to step out. I haven't fully stepped out, but I did grow up with a mother also saying, you have to have a job with benefits, a 401k, you have to have, things like that. And my dad was on the other side of, hey, honey, you're young, go ahead and try it and do it. But my mother has shifted and said, you know what, you should. People at church ask about you, different people are asking. I see people stop you all the time. Maybe, you should, really settle down and focus and go for this, because I really believe this is what you really would love, to do full time. So, but you have people, other family members say, you have to live in LA. You have to live in New York. This is not for here.
Yeah.
So, I've had both, and I've had support too, but, definitely.
I think there's always going to be people who mean well, but like Kathy said, maybe, they mean well, but they're just afraid. And it's their fears that they're placing on us, so
their experience.
They're from their experience or from, their belief system or what have you. But at the end of the day, really, you have to live for yourself. You have to do what feels best for you.
1,000%.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So when we talk about brainstorming, like for business planning, what's your go-to method for brainstorming, like new business ideas?
Well, me, I guess-
Research
Okay.
is first. Like I would just say research what other similar businesses that you want to start or other companies that have success in your niche or what it is, and just research what they've done.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If something is already done, follow it, but put your own twist to it.
Exactly.
What were we going to say,
I was going to
Simona?
initially start with a piece of paper and a pen and jotting ideas down, sketching things out, but definitely go to YouTube University. Start looking at people, see how they do it. Listen to sometimes you get overwhelmed, like, whoa,
Right,
whoa,
right.
and listen
Yeah.
to how other people do things and kind of learn from them and talk to other people in that same industry. But definitely the brainstorming starts with the pen and paper.
Yeah.
And I'm from a small town, so I go to that waterfront, the one that helped me.
What waterfront?
the
Vallejo.
waterfront.
Right,
The Vallejo
pull
wa-
up and just let mama and
Shout out Vallejo.
Shout out to Vallejo and write down ideas and go from there.
What about you?
So I would suggest if people are doing it for themselves is to think about what you're passionate about. Think about what you're good at and see what you can do with that. You want to invest in something that you enjoy doing
Yeah,
and
that
that
makes
you
sense.
feel passion behind.
Yeah.
So that those rough times are not as rough, you know?
Exactly.
Right.
And here's the big thing now that I'm noticing that I didn't have to deal with when I first started my business is AI is so big now, computers and all that stuff, that you have to make sure whatever you're brainstorming, your ideas cannot be replaced
Right.
by a machine.
It has to come
So
from
I
within.
know for
Yeah.
me as a recreation therapist, a machine can't really go out and revamp programs and do all the staff training and do the
Yeah.
hands-on and all the things that we need to do to revamp these programs for people with disability because it's individualized. It's not one thing.
And some people
Correct.
still crave a human connection too. Everybody don't want this automated, easy way. Some people love a real person because there are
I
virtual realtors.
I love talking to a
somebody
real
wants
person.
meet with you, talk to you,
Yeah.
see how human you are. I've talked to women. Hey, I've lost weight, I gained weight, I've done. Oh, okay, so you're real.
Right.
I can relate to you.
Right.
So.
There's many ways that you can actually brainstorm for your business plan, but it's very important that you do. So whatever method you have, just make sure that you do brainstorm because it's very important, right?
You
That's
got
the
to
first step.
extract
First
what's
step.
in your head and be able to read or visualize it
Absolutely.
somehow, whether it's in words, drawings, whatever you want to do these days. You know what I mean?
First
So
step.
This
yeah.
is your dream state.
Absolutely.
Like everything that you can dream of, like, I would love to do this. I would love to do that. Now, many people will say, pick something that you would do for free. Now, we're not going to do it for free. We're not going to do it
That
for
ain't
free.
Yeah.
But the
entrepreneurship.
point behind it is that when the going gets rough, when you're
Right.
going through that process
Right.
of implementing that plan, and and getting to that next step, you don't mind going through it because it has that passion behind it, and this is something you really want to do.
Absolutely.
And that's why I said I would do this whether I get paid or not. I help people for years, and then I start realizing I'm letting myself. Wait a minute, there's a need. So definitely, but if I didn't get paid, I'd still do it. I enjoy shopping. I enjoy looking at stuff and helping people and finding things for them. So
I mean, I had a passion and I loved absolutely dancing and teaching and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we have to have some form of livelihood. So being compensated for not only just what we love, but we're also offering a service that people want to receive. So I always say, like, have a business plan so you can set out what exactly you want to accomplish within your business.
Right.
And it's almost like a blueprint, like when
It is.
architects build
Yeah.
a home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're doing the same thing when you create and brainstorm a business plan for your business, because this is something that you wanted to survive. You wanted to grow. You wanted to evolve. You wanted to
thrive.
expand or
Yes.
whatever. You want to
It's a
have
roadmap.
multiple. Yeah, you
Right,
want to
it's
have
a
multiple
roadmap.
business. Yeah,
Right,
you have
it's
to
a
have a map.
it's no different. Than
You have to.
going on
It's a
trip.
map.
Yeah.
It's a map.
It's a plan. It's a plan for your business. So what common mistakes do entrepreneurs make when moving from idea to business planning, and how can they avoid them?
I think they skip steps.
Mm-hmm.
So you go from, okay, I want to do this, but you haven't planned out the appropriate steps to take, or you haven't aligned yourself with a person that can mentor you,
Wow.
or haven't done the research to find out if this is a need and how can you put a spin on it so that you can still make money from it.
Well, that the
So
mistake
that's
I
just
made,
skipping steps.
that's what I did. That was the mistake I did when I started my business years ago. So I had to restart my business a few times, what a lot of people didn't know. But when I first started and had this idea in my head, it was just an idea, and I just jumped right into thinking, oh, I can have a business. No, what I forgot to do is think about, like, how much is it going to cost? What's my break-even point? What budget do I need to, what are the things that I need, and how much is it going to cost to put it all together and to make it work? And how will I get my return on investment back and start profiting? So that was that was the biggest mistake that I made. So moving forward in the business that I have now, I'm able to see exactly where every penny goes.
Yes, and I agree with that. I think people should consult a mentor or the Small Business
Absolutely.
Administration or something like that, because we learn and lose a lot of money by trial and error. And then sometimes you need someone to fine tune you or see your vision and help you streamline it so you can execute without so many losses. And then, like I said, think about taxes. Accountant, where does every penny go?
Oh,
You
yeah.
think you're making money, then you map things out like, well, maybe I should change my prices, or look at things. So definitely a mentor or a small business administration type of person.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Definitely. I say don't reinvent the wheel. I keep saying that because align yourself with people who can help you and who want to help you. Okay, so what should a good, solid business plan include? I mean, you touched a little bit on it, but and I'll say this: sometimes I think business plans can get overwhelming. I think because
It's very overwhelming.
it could get overwhelming. I mean, there's some business plans that are just like pages and pages. What helped me, right? And I'm like, I'll start it. I'm like, I'll forget it. I'm not going to do it. But I was in this one business class and they said, you need to start with a 1-page business plan. It doesn't have, don't over complicate it. It can be something very, very simple. It's like you said, it's a roadmap. So just lay out A, B, C, D, E, and, and then in time, you can expound on that, but make sure you get the core things out. And what are some of the core things that a business plan should have?
Ooh.
I was like, wait, let me go over here. Tamika, you have it.
Well, it definitely has to have an outline of what you're thinking the name of your business is, what's going to be your mission, who are you serving, what's the need that you're serving. So who is your focal point? Who are your people that you're trying to reach?
Okay. And I'm going to say this too.
There.
I think that's a good idea, but I do think that some people just get caught up on the name. What should the name of the company be? And they
mine is too long.
Well, it worked. Are you successful? Are you successful?
Yes.
Okay. Anywho. Yeah.
Yes,
But
people, a long time.
yeah. People get caught up on the name. I hear, what should the name be? Name. I think the name will come to you. So if you're stuck on the name, just move forward with the other things. So Gigi, what's some of your main components of the business?
Well, I definitely prayed and meditated on my name before I actually started the business. So I want to say that the name is the umbrella of your business, and it is a name that people are always going to remember. So I feel like it is important to know what name you want people or your demographic or your customers to know you as.
Right.
Another thing is, like you said, like, okay, not to be too overwhelmed, because a business plan is pages.
It is.
It is a lot of pages, and depending on what your business is, it's a lot of pages. But to just break it down, you just really need your mission. Let's go back. Your vision, your mission, what problem are you solving?
Absolutely.
And what is the solution? So when you know what the solution is going to be, that's how you can say, okay, let me work on how I'm going to resolve this issue that people need and will pay for.
Right.
So, whether it's a daycare, because the problem is that parents work until 6, 7 o'clock, but kids get out of school at 2. Well, what are the kids going to do from 2 to 6? Well, you can create an after school care, which is what I did. Right. So that's kind of how you have to brainstorm all of this stuff. Finding the need of what a problem is in your community or in your city or whatever you want to do. It could be online, it could be in your city, it could be right here in your neighborhood. And then that's how you start innovating exactly what kind of business you want.
Well, I know for me, deadlines too. I think people should do deadlines because you can get caught up. You can get lost in so much information looking at other people's plans. And then you get overwhelmed before you know it. It's a year went by and I should have did this and that. And especially for me, and sometimes I give myself too much time. So I think deadlines, just like if we were going on a trip, you would, book the trip, then you start shopping, you gather, talk to the people about it, then you book the trip, then you start, looking for airline flights.
Right.
Oh my God.
You go
Just
through the
too much.
process, right?
Yeah.
You order your clothes and get your vacation looks together, and then you go. So it's the same type of thing, but it has to have
A
timeline.
deadline.
Yeah.
They say like some people get that, what is it called? Analysis paralysis or something like that. They
Yep.
get stuck
Guilty.
on analyzing. They get
Analyze,
stuck on looking at other people's stuff that they don't actually do their things. So I think, yes, like
Yeah.
having a deadline, putting a time on it.
Yeah.
And I will say this, a name is important, but I do feel like sometimes people start with that. Like, what's the name?
Yeah, you
What's
don't
the
have to
name?
start with
You
that.
don't,
No.
because sometimes the name will just come to you after you do your mission statement, after you find that need, that solving that problem, it'll come to you. So I'm just saying, don't get just caught up on the name, because sometimes that's the first part. That's the first thing that people want to do.
And it can definitely change when you're in your
Yes.
Yeah.
because now when you're brainstorming and going through each step that we'll go over today with business plans, you will think of things that you didn't think about before, because
Right.
it forces you to think about those areas.
Right.
And so you can come up with a different name. It can definitely change.
Oh, I've changed my name four or five times.
Right,
So
right.
it's okay
It's
Right.
okay.
to change and to
Right.
evolve and to
Mhm.
brand differently. But that's later on when
Yeah.
you
Right.
know exactly where you want your business to go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, if we break down the business plan into like the sections of it, like the first one, they call it the executive summary. And the executive summary includes a business plan, location, mission statement, your objectives, a brief description of the business, and then the financial summary, like the startup costs, revenue. So, ladies, when we
That's
talk
true.
about that financial summary, because when you start a business, you do have to have some type of working capital. You
Yeah.
do
Yes,
have
you
to
do.
invest something into your business.
Mhm.
So, Tamika, when you business planned, right, when you start our storming, did you set aside some capital? Did you put that into your business plan?
I absolutely did. And remember, I'm always the one that's talking about mentorship.
Right.
And so I talked with my mentor and just had a conversation with her. And she opened up with me, like, how much does it cost to do this part, to do that part? How much should I charge? How much does she charge?
Right.
And so I was able to come up with an idea. Okay, I'm going to put this amount of money into a separate account from your personal account. And made that a business account. And so every transaction that I made from the very beginning until today has gone through that account. And so that's like almost like your budget.
Right.
So I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to put $1,000 in this account, or whatever your amount is for your business. I'm going to put this amount, and I can only work from this amount.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to go into grants and, or other sources. But for me, it was just my money, and I just put it in there, and that's what I started.
Same for me. Like I basically, when I moved back from Atlanta to home, I took all my little coins and I dumped every single dollar into to start the business, to get the space, to get the advertising, to get the shirts and whatever else. And whatever profit that I made from my business, I just flipped it. So that's how I was able to not take loans out or borrow, because I was just flipping. I basically sacrificed not getting paid for a while to work on making sure that the business survived so that it can grow, because I believed in my business.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you believe so much in your business and you're passionate about it,
Yeah.
you're not worried about that, because you already know it's going to come. And here I am going into my 9th year. It's here.
Fabulous.
So it's done.
So typically, it's advised that you go a year without paying yourself.
I
And so
went
I'm
longer
going
than
back
that.
on what you're saying. But everyone has a hard time with that. So that's why I always suggest to keep your day job.
Yeah.
So keep some kind of other income coming in while you're building this business. Once that business can replace the salary of your job, then maybe you can go into it and just keep it.
I definitely
and start
recommend the
getting paid.
same. Yeah, I
Yeah.
recommend
Well,
people do that.
I
Yeah.
think that that's always in a perfect scenario, right?
Oh,
A
yeah,
perfect
you talked
world,
about this.
right?
Mhm.
Because I did not have that luxury. So I didn't have that luxury of having a job and then working real estate. I had to go all in. I'm talking about I didn't have no other job,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
So how do you tell, like I would say to someone, if they were in my shoes and did not have income or anything, or very little income coming in when you're starting your business, is if you truly believe it, give yourself, if you believe in yourself and you believe that this is something that you want to do, give yourself a year. Give yourself a year. And truth be told, when you're hungry, you go get out there and work. You go
Yes,
do
yeah.
it. And especially if you believe in what it is that you're going to do. And when you put that energy in there, when you do it, you're putting in the work, it's going to come back. It's going to come
Always.
back.
Always.
You know?
Always. It always comes
It's
It's
back.
always come back.
A long time
Nope.
unpaid as well. I mean, I want to just get people and have word of mouth. So I worked and worked, but in my business, I had a little bit to the side, but I was able to shop with other people's money and then charge a small fee. And sometimes the fee didn't turn out to be anything. So I was
Right.
in the negative, but it was a learning experience. I call it training and no
Absolutely.
regrets. And say, okay, well, I learned from that one. I learned from that one. Sometimes I ate the cost. I probably shouldn't have, but to keep things good, I did.
Yeah.
But,
You do
It's a
that to
cost of
learn.
doing
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
They
all
call that
done
on the job training.
Yes.
Hands-on experience.
Hands-on
Hands-on,
experience.
Well,
Yes.
I did it that way,
Yeah.
with other businesses. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you try different businesses, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I went through that phase of going, straight in there and having these losses. And so for me, I cannot do that again.
Not today.
And so,
Yeah.
well,
Nope.
and so
Right.
this
Yeah.
time, that's why I did it different. And this
Yeah.
was the first time that I went into a new business and did it different.
Okay.
And kept the day job and then just built the business. It was tiring.
Oh,
It was hard. I was
yes.
sick all the time.
Yep.
But it is what
You
it is.
did,
And for
yeah.
me, it made me feel good that I can pay my bills because I had this going on. And then I can pour myself,
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of my regular 9 to 5
Mhm.
and make sure I'm making money on the side and just build it slowly without that pressure. So
Yeah.
for
It was
me, it
definitely-
worked. And
yeah.
Live below
No,
your
I mean,
means
yeah.
Yes.
too.
Yeah,
When you start,
absolutely.
yeah.
Just to go for that,
Yeah.
the pressure. So when you start a business, it's going to be pressure, whether you have a full-time job and you're getting paid
Or
with an
not, yeah.
income
Mhm.
or not. But again, if you believe in the business and you're going after it, just trust in yourself, and give yourself timelines, like you said,
Definitely.
The second part of the business plan is your business description. And I believe we talked on this already, is parts of this is what type of business you're going to do, like what product or service you're going to have.
Right.
Your ownership, like the legal structure. Simona, you talked about that. And then what makes your business unique, or is it needed? Because if your business is not needed, I mean,
Well, how do you compare to your competitors?
How do you compare?
I look at it like more on that end.
Yeah.
Because there's other people, there might be 1,000 other different or the same businesses as you. So what makes you unique from those other competitors?
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, as a recreation therapist, consultant, obviously I started off by sub-consulting with someone that does exactly what I was doing.
Okay.
But what I chose to do, like you talked about a little bit, Gigi, where is going to be my niche? Where am I going to throw to the left a little bit of something that's not being serviced within the consulting?
Okay.
And so typically all the consultants for rec therapy went into group homes. All the group homes needed us. But then I found that little light over there that said, oh, what about parks and recreation?
Mhm.
They have to serve persons with disabilities, and there's no one there that has the same skill set, in
Right.
order to learn how to know how to adapt those programs so that
Yeah.
people can be successful.
Yeah.
And once I got into that, I was like, oh, hey, that works. And then I always read books on business and stuff. And recently, I read a book that said, whatever product that you're providing, figure out how you can multiply that same type of product or what you do in other avenues, at least 3 to 5 other avenues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's you becoming a specialist in different areas.
Right.
That's
Okay.
why I always say I'm a specialist in inclusion and adaptive recreation. Yes, I'm going to service these group homes, but now I want to service this parks and recreation. Now I'm going to all the conventions and stuff, and I'm being this motivational speaker, you know, and then what am I going to do next? Now I want to go to, amusement parks and make
Right.
sure that these rides are adaptable for people with
Nice.
disabilities.
Oh, I
Yeah.
And
love
so I know
that.
for you just recently got some additional services
Yeah.
and got some certifications.
Absolutely. So we call that legs, like legs in your business. So
Okay.
I was always told that you should have 5 to 6 streams within your business.
There you go.
So, you know, so how am I getting my leads? So you have like Zillow, you have open houses, you have your sphere, you have past client referrals. So same thing. So I think in your business, you see how you can branch out. Gigi, you were doing,
I have
after
my show.
school.
Yeah, I have my after school,
Mhm.
my showcases. I also do events. So I utilize the space that I have to put events and birthday parties
Right.
together. I mean, and I do merchandise. So I mean, you're right. You got to have legs
Legs.
within your business so that you can leverage more on that that profit
Right.
profit margin.
Absolutely.
And Simona,
And
you
just-
do more too.
And I do more. So when I say personal shopping, sometimes people give me a whole list of things they want, and I just go out and do the shopping for them and put the things together. But when they say I need a stylist, say, hey, I'm going somewhere, I don't know what I want to look like. I don't know what colors look good for me, what fits my body type. And then we do the styling and those kind of analysis. There's also closet consulting.
Right.
You go
Okay.
to do that. There's also the virtual consultant shopping for them as well. And then within that, they feel motivated. People feel good. People tell me, you know, I've worked with other stylists and you are so friendly. You are so energetic all the time. I feel good and I feel comfortable.
That's
you know,
it.
and your communication isn't overwhelming, but it's just enough. So I'm like, okay. So I mean, you know, so they're saying the service that you provide is just, you know, makes them feel good, and I feel great when I get that kind of feedback, and you know, we both smile and shake hands at the end.
But
Yeah.
probably you also do something with seniors and relocation. So
Yeah, that's what a whole real estate planner is. So I help with senior relocation when they need to downsize. Maybe their home is just
yeah.
too overwhelming or what have you. So
That's very-
I help with placement. Well, you know, get them into whatever home, whether that's assisted living, memory care. Like I'm
Yeah.
working with someone right now and getting them into a memory care facility. And then I
Oh.
also help with trust, probates, you know, things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see, you take one job opportunity,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
one business, and then you make it little legs, like you said. Yeah.
But it doesn't happen when you first started your business plan. When I first started my business plan, it didn't have all of that. It was just
Of course,
basic.
right.
Of course.
So in time, it will evolve.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
you want it to evolve.
Mhm.
So the third part they say that's a part of a business plan outline is a market analysis. So your target market, like who's going to be your customers, and then who's your top competitors.
See.
And what's your competitive edge? So I think we talked about that, but that
Yeah.
is something that you should brainstorm and it should be in your business plan.
So yeah, market analysis basically is more, so it's why that's important is because the way you market to that specific demographic is important. Like you can't market to 40 and up the way you do your 5 to 17,
Right.
which is my age group that utilizes my services. So
Right.
I have to, so in reality, I do have to market towards the parents within a specific age range, but
Right.
then also what is it that kids that age group wants to do and wants to listen to, or how do we switch it up?
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So you definitely need to know your target audience. Like
Of
you
course.
said, you don't want
you can't market the same way you do all age groups. You see what these little Gen X's is doing these
Right.
days, millennials or whatever. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They want that social media marketing. And
Yeah.
all that.
All of that.
You know, people want more personal, and they
Mhm.
can come up to you and say, "Can you help me?" You know, so yes, definitely you have to do the market analysis and see which way to, or do both ways. You
Do
know, it's
both
not
ways.
one way to skin a
Yeah.
cow,
See what
so-
works best for your business too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So do you guys like look at like your top competitors? Do you look at that?
I don't look at it as a competitor. I just try to stay a step forward. You know, like I said, they're in one niche right now. Everybody's flooding this area. Okay, who else services people with disabilities? And that's almost all industries, but I stayed in recreation.
Right.
So I'm
Okay.
like, okay, that's that Parks and Recreation. Here's this other studio that's an art studio. You know, so everyone is going to service people with disabilities. So I just try to get out there and just do, you know, find different avenues.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't put no energy into studying what my competitors are doing these days
Same.
because I feel like as a business owner, and especially after you've established yourself, you need to be more intentional about how to retain your customers and your clients
Yes.
and also continue to serve and make better. So you
Right.
do also have to, your business has to evolve with the time. So whether it's technology, the way you market, the way you serve, the way you communicate, like nowadays, everybody's on their phones, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So these mailers don't work no more.
No.
Right.
No, nowadays it's just emails or text messages. So
Right.
there's services that offer ways to market and target your clients or your customers through those type of outlets.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I will say, like in real estate, I mean, everyone knows a realtor, right? And I try
Yeah.
not to
Yes.
focus, right? Like
Don't
it's just
focus,
a challenging
don't focus
job.
on it.
So
Yeah.
I really don't look at them as competitors. I really feel like there's enough business for everyone. And I'm a firm believer in like your people will come to you. Like you attract people. Like, yeah, so people are going to be attracted to me. They might not be attracted to a competitor.
That's true.
You know, so I just look at it that way and
That's
just try to do the best. Like I know even in like, oh, did you see such and such on social media, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really, honestly, I try to stay in my lane because I can't go down that rabbit hole. You know, I just kind of stay focused and stay true to myself.
I don't look at nobody's
your own
social media.
talents.
Know your own
nothing. Yep.
talents.
And
Yes.
I don't pay attention to their website, social
Yeah.
media, their
Right.
reviews. I don't care what negative or positive things they say at that time. I just will focus on what energy am I giving to my
Yes.
people,
Right.
my
Yes.
staff, my kids, my parents, everyone, the community.
Right.
And that's really where your mindset should be. Because like Carla said, it's your energy. It's who you are is what attracts them to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
true. It's
It
so
is.
true.
Probably
You have to know. You have
Yeah.
to know that, look, I'm already successful. I already know I'm going to
Right.
attract and get the customers I need.
Right. Yeah.
And when you're fulfilling a need,
Mm-hmm.
then you're just going for it. And whatever it takes in order to take care of, you know, like for me, persons with disabilities, making sure that they're,
Mm-hmm.
you know, making sure that they are, you know, included in every aspect of recreation.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so many untapped markets. You know, I just went with my family to
That's
an
dope.
amusement park and we're sitting up there walking up and I'm going up to the top of the water slide. And I'm like, well, how is a person with a disability going to get up here?
Mm.
So that's an untapped market. So
Right.
that's what I do.
dope.
It's like, I am here to make sure that people with disabilities have a quality of life.
That's wonderful.
Right.
You're
So
so
when I'm
needed.
around and I'm walking
Yes.
around, I see things all the time. I'm like, okay, this needs to be helped. And so when you're looking at it in that aspect and not looking at a competitor
Yeah.
and trying to be them, just be you.
You
and
just
provide
be
that
you.
service.
Just
Absolutely.
be you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I think when you do focus on other people, it does something to you, right? I feel like it can make
It
you
blocks
get out
you.
of
Your lane
you
sometimes.
get out of your
Yeah.
lane,
It
and then you
blocks
can
your
somehow,
creative-
it blocks
Their
you.
blueprint.
Absolutely. And it makes you feel bad. Like for me, if I'm going down that rabbit hole, I'm like, oh, I'm not like this. And you start comparing yourself.
That's true.
And that's not
It
good.
triggers
So
you for
it
real.
triggers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another part of the business plan is organization and management. So you know who the business owners are, you know, and in most cases when you're starting off, it's just going to be you and the team players, the advisors, consultants. Did you guys do that when you first started your business plan?
Well, I want to say when it comes to this part of the business plan, when you are starting off, it's more about what all can you handle and what can you delegate. So delegating is key, and that is something that nobody ever told me when I started my business because Gigi was doing everything. All the way
you probably
down,
had
all the
to.
way down to mopping the floors.
You probably had to. Though.
I did
You
have
did.
to.
You probably had
but
to.
also I felt like I would have been able to maximize my time more into something else in the business because I'm so tired from
Right.
cleaning
Right.
or just doing all this other stuff that I could have gave to somebody else to do.
Right.
And I have a friend, she's a lawyer, and she's got my mentor, and she'll, set me down and let's help sketch this out. Let me help fine tune this. Let me help you with the legalities. So she's a consultant. I can always call her to help me set things up. So she kind of helped streamline some things for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely, for me, did like a self-evaluation and what areas am I lacking that I need in order for this business to be successful. And so I first went to my friends. What are their talents? What are they good at? I had a friend that wrote well. So I was like, help me write my material that I need so that it makes sense. Carla, really helped me to just focus. We did those retreats. And then also, how do I do a web page? How do I get that done? And then, so you go tap into your friends.
Right.
Sometimes, each one of them can give you an idea. And even if it's not a good idea, it may stretch your brain to think of something else,
Or even just people that you see that really believe in what you do.
Yes.
They will
Because
help
that's
you.
how I found my accountant.
Yes.
That's how I got my
That's how you
accountant.
found Nina?
And that's how I got Nina. And she's been working with me for years, since before COVID.
Yeah.
And she was just like, if you need anything, because she saw me running around crazy.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm a CPA, so if you need any accounting,
Right.
I got you. And you know what? I'm bad with numbers. Math is not my favorite subject, so I really I'm so grateful
Well, you need
to
to
have
take
had that.
take care of that.
But see, that's how the universe works.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you're working so hard and you believe in what you do and you're putting all the energy into your business, things just fall into place.
It does.
You do have to block up the outside noise. Sometimes I can be distracted because I'm trying to be that Libra. I'm trying to balance outside and inside. But my friend who launched her own law firm, she's like, listen down. Like, let's take some time.
Thank you, your attorney friend. Thank you.
She just launched her law
Right.
firm too. She says, listen, let's get you focused. And so she will help me. And sometimes I get off track and she helps.
Because if you're focused, I'm telling you right now, this is my friend for many years. I'm gonna put you on blast just for a little bit.
I got some things to say too, but
just
go
a little
ahead,
bit.
Carla.
I'm
Tell
put you on
them.
blast.
Tell them.
You are so talented. You
Yes.
have so much to offer. Your business can be 1,000 times better if you focused.
Stop trying to balance everything.
If you focus.
Put the energy you give
if
to
you
everyone
do
else.
your time management and stop talking to everybody.
Sure.
And hanging
receive
out with
that.
everybody.
Thank you. Because it's coming from love.
Yes.
Now we can continue.
Okay. Moving on.
So, moving on. So that part right there, when we talk about like the advisors and things like that, when we talk about professors like your tax accountant, like Nina and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that took a while. I mean, I remember just like every year, like dreading to do taxes. I would have
did 'em.
bags of receipts and everything, like wrecking my brain. Like it would take so long. But I would say it took me years to that was a little fly or something. To get
Your taxes and your accounting.
to get a corporation, to get an accountant, to get on payroll and all of that, and that has made a difference. But that comes in time.
Yeah.
Not everyone can just start doing that, right?
Yeah, because if you just start off by keeping your business account separate, that will help a lot just with taxes, because then at least it's a flow of income and outcome, is all coming from one source.
Well, that's the structure. Why you have to establish the structure.
Absolutely.
Like I have an LLC.
Mhm.
So basically, and then that's another topic. But anyway, so you do have to separate your personal expenses and your business expenses. So that's also important, and make sure that you clarify that in your business plan.
Right.
Absolutely. The fifth part is products and services, right? So you want to outline that. So you want a description of your products and services, your pricing strategy, what makes it valuable or different, and then plans for future offerings. I think we already talked about that, right?
Yeah. But I'm in the stage right now of what's next, and so I recently did a talk, or I guess a continuing education units for a group of recreation therapists. And we talked about how to become a consultant. And I got a lot of great reviews. And so now they booked me for next year in 2026 2026 already up.
Wow.
In 2026
Wow.
to do another subject and to be the motivational speaker. I said, I can't do the motivational speaker. She's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. So now, and my husband has said that before too. And I said, okay, this podcast is going to help me
Right.
get that, to build that. So I said, you know what?
Uh-huh.
Let me get to that stage.
Yeah.
So things will open up
Absolutely.
as you go.
Absolutely.
As you go, and you start thinking of things that you would never do before.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
It's about putting yourself out there.
And just trying it.
and trying it. Can't be.
Well,
you gotta,
can I just say that it's never stop saying, I don't have time, or maybe in a year, or in 6 months I'll be ready. You're never going to be ready when you think you're ready.
Right.
The time
The
is
only
now.
the time to be ready is
Now.
right now.
you have everything you need
Yes,
within you
you
right
got
now.
it.
It's one of the things too, I'm always, doing my business, doing work,
Yeah.
and doing my social life. But my social life does bring me clients as well.
Absolutely.
Because I'm out digging and talking, and I'm socializing.
She gonna
That's
find
a
a
great
way.
excuse.
You in the right business. She gonna find a way back.
She in the right
She gonna
business.
find a way back.
Excuse me, but yeah. So I mean, and that's how I've met a lot of people and a lot of,
That's
met
true.
my way.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I mean, but there has to be a balance with anything.
Yeah.
And the timeline and the deadlines and the timeline for expansion. You
Right.
got to stay in the same lane and just actually, because I probably could have grown it,
Mhm.
10 times bigger.
Right.
But you still can.
You still can.
Right.
Yeah,
Sky's the
absolutely.
limit.
The sixth part is marketing and sales strategies. So in that is brand, like your branding, your slogan, your marketing channels. So now we have social media, you have email, websites, events, word of mouth. And then what's your sales strategy? And then your customer retention plan.
That's all in my business.
Yes. So
Yeah.
your business plan should
And
have
so
that.
for me, social media for me is the LinkedIn,
Mhm.
because that's more of, I guess, seen as the professional area. And so that's where I can reach my clients. But Facebook and it doesn't really work for me, for my
Right.
business. And then it was the last part. What was the last one?
Customer retention.
So that's just really doing a good job and
Right.
going
They will come
above and
back.
beyond,
Mhm.
right? And sometimes with consulting, they'll come to me and say, hey, we need this. Well, while I'm doing an assessment,
Mhm.
I will find other areas that there are needed. And they appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I provide staff training, right? Staff changes over in
Yeah.
any business,
Right.
right? So is that retention?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, hey, now I've developed these yearly trainings that you can provide to your staff on a yearly basis.
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so good service,
Mm-hmm.
good communication,
Right.
and looking and seeing what else they may need, and then providing a service that can be repeated.
Right.
Yes.
And all of this in your business plan should be written out, like just like line item by line item. So this is what I do for customer retention. I do A, B, C. It should all be written out, because then that becomes a standard.
Yes.
And that's what you want in your business plan. So really, I was told, like, when you have your business plan, you should be able to hand it over to someone and they should be able to see it and to be able to,
Understand
it and to go
and-
through it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And as far as retention too, I mean, customers come back, and then, when they do word of mouth, refer somebody, and you know that you did a good job, and you have, years of the same clients, and it starts growing because they're referring you without advertisement.
Right.
So, that's, I mean, in my line of
Referrals are a
business.
compliment.
Absolutely. That's the
Referrals are a
highest
compliment.
form of a compliment.
Word
Yes.
of mouth is my top
Yeah.
form
for
of
me.
marketing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's how I get that.
The seventh part of a business plan is your operation plan. So what's your daily operation overview, right? And that's big too, because what you do daily kind of determines where your business is going to be. So you should be able to do something daily. Like you should have your daily
Market
tasks,
research.
what you do.
Mhm.
Another part of that operation plan is your location, technology, suppliers, vendors, partnerships, and then your key milestones with the timeline. So that should be in your operational plan.
Right.
Well, that should also include in your operation plan, like the roles of people who play in that daily operation. Whether
Yes.
you have a manager for this, or a director for that, or somebody who's in charge of something specific,
Yeah.
because that, and then incorporate some type of weekly or monthly or bi-weekly
Absolutely.
meeting or follow-up, because that should also include in that, because things are changing so much.
Yeah.
So with so much people working remotely or so hybrid
Yes.
or whatever it is, you don't really always need to have these daily meetings and stuff, unless you want to. But state that in your operation plan.
Don't spend unnecessary money. A lot of people love to have an office.
Right.
Girl, I don't even use my office.
But the thing about it is you need a brick and mortar because
because of my business.
But for me, I go out and service customers.
You're
so
in the
I
field.
can just be at home.
Yeah.
Office.
you're
So
in the
don't
field.
spend unnecessary money.
Right.
Definitely.
I agree with that.
Start small and, baby step it into.
The last part of the business plan that we have here is the financial part of it.
she was saying. Don't spend no unnecessary money on the office.
Don't spend no money.
Well, I'm looking for home for sure.
Right. So that includes what are your startup costs?
Yes.
Funding sources, are you self-funding this, your loan, grant, your projected monthly expenses, your projected monthly income, your break-even point.
Hello.
And then this is important, I think. What's your financial goals? 6 months, 1 year, 3 years? What is that? What's your financial goals?
And I do that every year.
Mm-hmm.
So every single year, I sit down to this day, and I'm going into 11 years. Of how much do I want to make this year? How much do I want to make this next year? And so I do that every single year.
Yeah.
Every 10 months for me, my season consists of 10 months, which we follow the school year. So the financial plan, like you said, is your operational costs, which includes your space. If you have a brick and mortar, your payroll, your utilities, your insurance, your taxes. Ooh, Lord. It's a bunch of stuff, your marketing costs and stuff like that. And then, what is it going to cost to break even? To pay for all of this, what do I need to bring in monthly just to make sure that's covered? And then everything after that is your net profit. So it's important to know that. So you want to reach over. So if I need 60 kids to just break even, I'm going to shoot every month. I'm going to shoot for 100.
Right. But you see how you just broke that down?
Yeah, I know. It's
because you know your numbers, and that's a part of it.
Yeah,
that's a part of it. So once you do your business plan, you should know that.
And that's
good
why you do
to know
a
your
business
numbers.
plan
It's good
before
to
you
know your
start your
numbers.
business.
Yes.
Because by you knowing how much you need to operate, you can find out if I'm ready for this business today.
Right.
Or is this something I need to work towards 6 months from now or a year? And you can work it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get that stress level. So map it out in this business plan. This tells you what you need. If you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm going to have a job on the side.
But there's glory in the struggle too. Live and learn.
That's fine.
Because just because you map it out when you're ready doesn't mean you're not going to have these, hiccups and stuff. Even my daughter, she has her own business too. And, I say, hey, if you have 4 clients this week, try to get 10 the next week. Try to do some more ads or sponsored ads, try to do your numbers too. So, from, your space you're renting, try to do more. So we talk about, trajectory as well.
But it gives you that start.
It does.
Yes.
It gives you the
need that start.
And when you brainstorm on that in the section where it talks about the startup costs or whatever section that was, how are you marketing your business? You can't just use one way. So maybe you're going to beef up, maybe you're going to beef up social media. Maybe you're going to beef up word of mouth or networking or something like that. And you want to track it because that way okay, where's my business? Where should I pour more into?
Right. I remember going to Safeway years ago, and your ad was on the cart. And I was like, oh, and then I've been on social media, and it's popped up on stories, and I'm like, okay. So I've seen you try marketing in different ways, and we've talked to you about instead of doing a dark and navy blue suit, let's do color and more vibrant, you're youthful.
Yeah.
So we have to pivot, with
and
the
that's
market.
The whole thing too. You may start off with this beautiful business plan, and you may start in 3 months, and you need to change it a little bit.
You do have to change and look back at
every year.
How your business is evolving, all the way down to, like you guys said, technology is changing frequently. Yes. We have AI. We have all these people. You have to be like, okay, well, if you don't use social media, well, then what is it that I can utilize? What are people using to see?
Right.
They're not listening to the radio anymore like back in the day, right? They're on their phones.
Right. I
They're
have
on
to
their
advertise
phones.
to organizations that service Parks and Recreation, that services organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrap up.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I'm so passionate about this. I just love talking about business and
Me
brain.
too. I love talking about it too.
Because it like fuels me. But anyway, we want to give the audience a little challenge here, and I think we should probably do it too. So step 1 is brainstorm. So set like 10 minutes, just 10 minutes if you can, to write down business ideas. So no judgment, just flow. So just take some time and just write it out. Step 2, choose one. Pick one idea that excites you the most, that fuels you, that gives you energy. Just pick one. And also that aligns with you, who you are.
Right.
And then step 3, create a mini plan. So you don't have to go through all of this. We're going to provide a business plan link for you to access that you can it's a template you can use, but start with a mini one, and use, and just do a simple outline. I think that would be good.
Yeah, outline.
Yeah. And then step 4 is to reflect. What was the hardest part? What came naturally? And then share your experiences with us. Like, put it in the comments and let us know.
And let us know if you're stuck on an area.
Yeah, let us know if you're stuck on an area. If you have it, and if you want to brainstorm any questions or whatever, please put it in the comments. Reach out to us. Yeah, because we're here to help too. Like,
I love helping others.
We're all growing and a work in progress. So
entrepreneurial
we definitely will help out and can refer if we know someone that's expertise in that area.
Absolutely. So before we go, we want to give a shout out to Percy Robinson, the man behind the camera. Thank you so much, Percy. You have helped us tremendously. So thank you so much. We could not have done this without you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So until next time, ladies, until the next episode, stay true to yourself and let's mind our business.